Have you heard of the word scrupulosity? Scrupulosity na wetin oyibo dey refer to as fear of religion. Scrupulosity wey I just mentioned na a form of a mental health disorder. We refer to it as OCD. You're welcome again to this episode. And in this episode, we'll be discussing about something that is very, very real. Right? Have you heard of the word scrupulosity? Wetin be scrupulosity? Let me speak a little of the Nigerian pidgin. Okay, so those of you watching me that are Nigerians, I want to switch a little to the Nigerian pidgin language. So wetin be scrupulosity? Na big oyibo language wey be say if person get am like this, no be small thing o. Scrupulosity na wetin oyibo dey refer to as fear of religion and religious activity. If you check statistics now, you go know say many African country like Nigeria and even some country wey dey outside Africa like Afghanistan, Iran and the likes, they dey top of the list wey get people wey dey very religious. They fit be Muslim, Christian, religious worshipper, but they believe say e get one supreme being wey dey somewhere, wey dey control everything. You understand? Now, the fear of religious activity na wetin oyibo dey refer to as scrupulosity. Yes. So, in English term, we refer to scrupulosity as a form of obsessiveness to religious activity. So it's centered around moral and religious fears. So we'll be talking about that. And scrupulosity wey I just mentioned na a form of a mental health disorder. We refer to it as OCD, obsessive compulsion or compulsive disorder. Obsessive-compulsive disorder and a mental health disorder. Good. So we can't know say this scrupulosity is a mental health disorder and it falls under the theme of OCD. So OCD na mental health disorder and scrupulosity na a type of OCD. So in clinical terms, because I be therapist, remember, say I be your host on this podcast, Health and Wellness Podcast on Liberators Network. So I be the therapist wey go to help you understand the different ways wey human being take dey react to things and how it take affect clinical matters. That means say I go tell you wetin clinically those things they talk about and how you go fit correct them if it dey correctable. Now, back to what we have been discussing, right? OCD and scrupulosity. So we say that scrupulosity is a form of OCD, or it is subtype. Clinically, we refer to it as a theme of OCD. Now, let's move further. OCD, remember we said it's obsessive and compulsive. Now, what does it mean to be obsessive? Might give you an example. You see, so we talk about people who dey religious. Now, these religious persons, say for church or imam or one Hindu leader or Baha'i leader, one religious leader tells you that, you need to do A, B, C, else something is going to happen. Sometimes the talk say if you no sow seed, if you don't give, that you will remain poor. Okay, this is a very common scenario. But before we move further, I would like make we understand, say, there is a difference between normal anxiety and OCD. Okay? Now, OCD, now repetitive fear. Now, fear where we say they always come. It dey always dey very negative, and it dey guilt trap you. Where we say you cannot get out of that state of mind on your own 9 out of 10 times. Normal fear, you just have that anxiety fear. You are able to grow above that state. But you see, for OCD, the image, the fear, the anxiety, they come back to back, even when it is least expected. You could be in the vehicle and you are scared. You could be in a board meeting, you are scared for the same thing, and it comes in more larger intensity, or more strong intensity. Okay, so now back to the pastor, the imam, and so the spiritual leader can tell you to do ABC, and if you don't do it, something will happen. Take, for example, they have asked you to sow a seed. Now, if you don't sow a seed, you'll be poor. Right? Good. Now you are scared. Oh, if you don't sow the seed, you'll be poor. Now, someone who is suffering from scrupulosity, which is a form of OCD, will find it difficult to get out of this guilt trapping. Meaning that if the person is not able to fulfill that obligation of sowing that seed, the person begins to feel, the person begins to reason, the person begins to imagine. In another form, the person begins to hallucinate that poverty has come to dwell with him or her. Now, the person will find it so difficult that he or she will start believing that whatever he or she does will not prosper. So even when you are working and earning good money, because you did not, sow a seed, you did not obey an instruction that was given to you, you now feel like your pay, your salary is cost, that the spirit of poverty, if there is anything like that, has come to dwell with you. Whereas in the real sense of it, you are just experiencing what is referred to as scrupulosity. And scrupulosity is, like I said, is a theme of OCD. And this thing is not real. It's not real. Even when you go ahead to give that arm, you fulfill that obligation, you are not fulfilling it from a place of love. You are not fulfilling it from a place of comfort. You are not fulfilling it from a place of goodwill. You are doing it out of compulsion. So now you are obsessed about the thought. Can you see it now? You are obsessed about the thought of poverty coming to stay with you. Poverty. So you are scared. You are living with that thought when you sleep, when you are awake. In short, in your sleep, you can start dreaming that you are poor because it has trickled into your subconsciousness. Are you getting it now? Okay. So this is so strong. Is a mental health disorder. I'll share you a story, right? But let's proceed. You see, you have given this money as a result of compulsion. So it is obsessive-compulsive disorder. It's a disorder because you react to things because you are compelled to do it. It's a compulsion. And you are compelled to do it. What is compelling you is the anxiety. You want to quench that anxiety that is in your brain. So you feel when you give, then the spirit will leave you. Some people don't even give their salary. They have given their cars. Some have sold their houses and given the proceed to religious bodies, still nothing has changed. Why? Think of it. Why? Now, nothing changed because they gave out of compulsion. And God does not bless nature. The universe doesn't bless such. You are giving because you want to get out of a state of anxiety, of anxiousness. And that anxiety is fear. Like you are scared that if you don't sell your house, if you don't donate the car for one activity or the other, that possibly you're going to die, you're going to experience some negativity. So the thought of you experiencing such negativity, the fear, that thought has built fear in you, anxiety. And for you to get out of that anxiety state, your brain is telling you what you need to do. What your brain is telling you to do is to give out of compulsion. That is compulsiveness. Can you see that? So it is something that happens both in relationship, in religious setting, in marriages and the likes. Yes, I kid you not. In relationships, it happens. And OCD actually thrives in a state where there is uncertainty, where there is tension. It thrives where there is tension. Now, your partner tells you that if I don't get the paycheck at the end of the month, this relationship is over. Because you want to stay in the relationship and because you don't want the relationship to be over, then you are giving. You are giving out of fear. You don't want to lose the relationship. You are giving because you don't want to be alone. Right. It's making sense now, right? Good. You don't want to be alone. So you are giving. That's a subtle sign of OCD, right? That one has a name. But now we are looking at signs of OCD, right? So we have been able to understand scrupulosity. That scrupulosity is a thing or is a type of OCD that is centered around moral and religiousness, or being religious. Oh, if I don't add sir to the greetings, something bad will happen. That's OCD. Yes. So every time you have a negative thought that has stayed over time, on and on, not just once, not twice, it has become a repetitive pattern. A negative thought, a specific negative thought becoming a norm because it has, happened over and over and over and over again. If you react, right, you are reacting based on that negative thought. What has happened, that circle is referred to as OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder. A lot of people experience OCD even without knowing that what they are experiencing is OCD. They think it is the universe being bad to them. It is their uncle. It is their aunt. It is no. And this is very, very, very bad. Do you get that? So the obsession for the religious, we're talking about the religious in the religious setting, right? Now, the obsession of, if you don't do ABC exactly the way it's been said by the religious leader, one, you start feeling, it's a sin, God will be angry, and I'm a bad person. That's an obsession. That thought will start coming. It's not coming. It start building, right? It keeps coming. You could be driving home and be like, and if I don't do this now, wow, God wouldn't like me. I'm not right. I'm not good. I'm not enough. You understand? God will be angry at me when I pray. God would, possibly put his hands on his ears and no one will listen to you, or ask the angels to chase you away. Those feelings, those thoughts, you get that? That's the obsession. And where the anxiety comes in, you understand, is you start feeling overwhelmed. You can't just, you just start feeling overwhelmed, you know and this overwhelming feeling start bringing what is referred to as dread. You start dreading, say, if God becomes angry at me, my own is finished. If God does not like me, when I pray, he will not answer. If God does not like me, all the businesses I have, he's going to, shut them down. You start having this guilt, and before you know it, you are stuck. You are stuck. You can't get out of it. You can't help yourself. You're finding a way. You're finding a way to get out. Your brain has entered alert mode. Do you get that? So, and then the compulsive or the compulsion state is that part where you start performing the action. So, okay, because I want to get out of this state of mind, you start performing the action A, B, C. And you are not doing it out of love, you are not doing it with joy, but purely to stop the harm. Right? You are just doing it to stop the harm from ringing in your head. You're trying to stop the harm from, coming again. And guess what? With OCD, when you perform the action or you fulfill the obligation, the thought does not stop. Yeah. You get it, right? The thoughts do not stop. It doesn't stop. It doesn't vanish away. They will pray for you. They will tell you this. No. The thought comes again and again and again. So that's how you identify that, this stuff is OCD. Are you with me? You there, right? Okay, so let's look at OCD and healthy faith. So how do you identify OCD, obsessive compulsion or compulsive disorder, and how do you identify healthy faith? Yes. How do you know, this thing is OCD, this thing is? So let's look at it. Now, it can be very, very hard to distinguish between the two. Very, very hard to distinguish. But we're looking at it from the features, the primary drivers, the feeling, and then the flexibility. Now, with healthy religious devotion and act, the primary drive here is love, gratitude, or love for God, love for yourself, love for the community. Do you understand? So that's the drive. That's the primary driver. You just love God. You just love humanity. You love yourself. You love your neighbor. You just want to do things to make the community more comfortable. You get that? That's your drive. Then if that's your drive, you know that, okay, it's a healthy religious devotion. But if that's not your drive, your thought is as good as mine, right? Okay, now how do you feel when you do things for love? How do you feel? Two partners that are not in a compulsive relationship and they buy gifts for themselves, for each other, we buy gifts for each other, not for themselves now, for each other. What happens? When you buy the gifts and you are gifting your partner without them asking, if most times without them being aware, the joy you derive handing those items over to them or seeing them make use of those items, words can't just explain. You understand? So when you're giving from a place of love, a place of gratitude, a place of compassion for the community, that's healthy. And the feeling that comes after that, after the giving, is peace. Even though you've given your last kobo, even though you've given your, giving your all, giving the large part of your of your income, you feel fulfilled, you feel joy, you feel this serenity within you. Now, a few persons have done this and yeah, they feel like that, but others have given, oh, they gave, and then they became resentful, they became very angry, they regretted giving. Have you ever heard someone say, oh, I regret giving, I wish I did not give? The person was given from a place of compulsiveness. That's OCD. Yeah. Do you understand that? Okay. So, and now the flexibility, you understand that it's grace, you understand human errors when you're giving from a place of love. Oh, this person is human. Okay, he could use my car or stuff. Yeah. So you understand, grace, and then you understand human errors. Now, how do we now identify if it's OCD, especially if it's scrupulosity? Now, the primary driver is going to be fear. Fear is going to be dread. You dread the calamity that you are being told, or your mind, you are being told by a person, or your mind is telling you that is going to befall you. So you are being scared of that dread, and you have this must to do urgency. Yeah, love is actually optional. Actually, yes, most people don't know that love is optional. Yeah, yeah, love is optional. What I mean by that is love gives you option, either to stay, to do, or to walk away, or not to do. Love never compels you. Even in the holy book, as Christians, we are told that for God to love the world, that he gave. And then whosoever believes, it is not who that everyone must. It's not a must. It's not a must. Whosoever, so it's a choice. It's a choice. You could love God if you want. You could. It's not a must. Love is not compulsive. When things become compulsive, definitely it's not love. It's not love. Yeah. And if you stay in such situations over time, well, what you get is your mind dreading calamities, and you are in a toxic environment whereby you could be easily guilt tripped or guilt trapped. Yes. Things, when things don't go your way or their way, they could guilt trap you. You experience this in relationship. Oh, you don't love me, that's why you didn't do it. Whereas your paycheck can't even afford that. And even when your paycheck can afford it, if you go overboard, definitely it's going to affect you adversely. So the other person doesn't even care. They guilt trap you. Oh, you don't love me, that's why you didn't do it. If you love me, you go all out to do it. Love is not emotional. So to say, love is logical. Love is not blind. Emotions are blind. Love is not blind. Even when God sent Jesus Christ, he wasn't blind. Everything was calculated. Everything was planned. He sat down, he looked at it. He had a plan, he had a goal to redeem mankind through that process, and he set sail. You see that? So he loved, he calculated. So love is not foolish. Do you understand that? So OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, thrives in an environment that is hostile. It thrives in an environment that is toxic, because that is the only time and only place where OCD individuals can be controlled, can be manipulated. Hope you're learning. So if you are experiencing any of this that I've mentioned, I would advise that you see a health practitioner, a mental health practitioner. I want to tell you why a person who suffers from scrupulosity, which is a form of OCD, might feel stuck. Yes, because why the person will feel stuck is because OCD thrives in uncertainty. We've said that it thrives in uncertainty. Yes, over time I've come to realize that what strikes out uncertainty is information. When you are informed, then you can predict to a large extent. Okay, so you feel stuck because your brain is looking for certainty. Yeah, that you are safe, that you are good, and since you can never be 100% certain, then the cycle, never ends. You get that now? So the thought keeps coming and coming and coming because humans can be 100% certain. So it keeps going, and then the possible next step is our advice is you consult with a professional, right? One thing you can do is you separate the voice. Separate the voice. Try to separate the voice from the feeling. It's okay to feel, but it's not okay to become what you feel, especially if what you feel is negative. So when you tend to be stuck in your negative feelings over time, it's referred to as OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, because when you feel that way, you will act in a certain manner, and those actions are not born from a place of clarity. Is born out of compulsion, compulsivity. Are you getting that? Okay, is that clear now? Okay, so you try to separate the voice from the feeling. Say, okay, you try to say something like, I'm having thoughts that I'm worthless because I feel anxious. Oh, I'm having thoughts that this because I feel. So you identify it. It helps send signals to the brain to be able to distinguish the reality from the obsessive thoughts. Now, the next thing you do is seek balanced perspective. You might want to talk to someone, out of that setting, a neutral person, and seek advice. All right, seek perspective. How do they see that? So that's scrupulosity, right? So we've been able to understand that OCD means obsessive compulsive disorder, and scrupulosity is a form of OCD which is centered around morals and religious activities. The fear of not being perfect when it comes to morals, and the fear of breaking religious routines. You understand? Okay, so now let's explain. Let me help you understand what OCD is in a broader term outside scrupulosity. Now, OCD is of two stages: the obsessive stage and the compulsive stage. Do you understand that? Remember that OCD means obsessive compulsive disorder. So the obsession, let's look at the obsession, the two parts that makes up OCD. The obsession, these are unwanted intrusive thoughts, images, or urges that keep popping into your head even though you really do not want it. Do you get that? So these are repetitive thoughts, images, flashes that get into your head even when you don't want it. So it builds as thoughts. It's built as urge. It's built as you know something you don't want, flashes, okay, and they are strong anxiety. They are caused by strong anxiety, fear, disgust, or discomfort. And common examples of obsessions, right, is what if I left the stove on, or what if I left the gas on and the house will burn? Have you ever felt that before? Have you ever thought of that? Has that thought flashed your mind over and over and over again with a strong intensity that is able to knock you off balance? That's how it builds, right? Another example is, what if there are germs everywhere and I would get sick and die? There are people who say they are neat freak. They are freak. They are freaks. Oh, everywhere should be neat and all of that. And say, oh, germs. How are you gonna get germs? Okay, but it must also interest you to know that there are bacteria that are positive. We call them gram positive and gram negative, right? And you need the gram positive and the gram negative to coexist for you to have a healthy life. Even in the atmosphere, you have the negative and then you have the positive. If you have one without the other, then it becomes unhealthy. Do you understand that? Okay, so when people start having thoughts of, if I secretly hurt someone, what if I secretly fall off the cliff, what if I, you know, what if something terrible? Have you ever been in a vehicle or in an airplane, right? You're flying, and then every time you fly, you're having this, oh, this plane is going to crash. This plane is going to crash. And or you can't help it. Do you get that? Okay. So such thoughts, they are very, very not good. They are very, very bad. You understand? They are not so good thoughts that you should allow, because if you stay on these thoughts for too long, it becomes an obsession. Yes, it becomes an obsession. And there was one time, let me share this with you before we proceed to the compulsion part. Remember that OCD has the obsessive and the compulsion. So, obsessive has to do with the thoughts flashing in your mind over and over and over again. Okay, and then the compulsion, the action to try to quench the effect of the thought, meaning that what you dread or what you fear. So I want to tell you a story. I told you I'll tell you a story. I used to have this obsessive thought when I travel by land, especially in big vehicles, not SUVs, like luxury coaches, and then it's running at a particular speed, right? I I used to feel it's going to fall off, it's going to fall off, it's going to fall off, and especially when we get to the bridge, where you have water and stuff, I'll just feel like it's going to fall off, it's going to fall off, it's going to fall off. But with therapy and likes, ESR, I got out of it. You understand that? Okay, so it's real. OCD is real. That thought is real. So I don't know what the obsessive thoughts you have is, and what compulsive actions you always do to see that your fears are fizzled out, or they fizzle out, or you still find yourself standing in front of these fears. These fears are not going anywhere because the fears are not real. You know what? Sometime while I was much younger, someone actually told me that fear is an acronym, and fear stands for false experiences appearing real. Is that not quite interesting? False experiences appearing real. That's OCD. So fear, the false experience, the experience never happened. And even when it happened, your brain is only exaggerating it and not logically processing it. Because if your brain is logically processing it, you will not feel that negative intensity of thoughts. Is that making sense now? Okay. So, false experience appearing real. That's what fear is. So, I used to fear uh, being in a coach and riding at a particular speed and being on the bridge. I'm in the coach and then the coach is on the bridge or the luxurious bus or the likes. You understand? I used to have that fear, but when I understood that, oh, that's OCD, I went for uh, professional. Uh, I sought professional support, and yeah, I'm fine. I don't experience such again. I've uh, you know uh, wrote in over maybe 20 times over then, and since then, and I'm fine. So now let's get back to the compulsion part. Let's get back to our work. Compulsion part. Now, these are things that a person feels driven to do. So these are things that a person feels driven to do. You are driven to do it, not because you want to do it. Emphasis on driven to do it. Now, you are driven to do this because you want to try to get rid of the anxiety from your head. You want to get rid of the anxiety. You want to get rid of the obsession, or to prevent the fear thing from happening. That's the compulsion. You are compelled. You are moved to do. You are moved to act because you want to get out of the obsessive thoughts. You want to try to stop what you fear would happen. Just like when they say, if you don't give, you will remain poor. So you are giving so you will remain poor. You are not thinking logically. Are you getting that now? Okay, so now these are common examples, right, of actions, compulsive actions to an obsessive thought. Now, the thief is going to break in. The thief is going to break in. The thief is going to break in because I didn't lock the place, whereas you locked the place. But your brain is telling you that you didn't lock it and that the thief is going to break in. And when they break in, they are going to kill you, or they're going to, harm you in one way or the other. What do? You go check the locks over, not once, not twice. You go check it every 2-3 minutes. Every 2-3, it will open. It will open. It will open. You understand? That's an obsessive thought. And what you're doing is reacting to that obsessive thought, which is compulsivity. Do you get that? Now, checking appliances many times. Another example is washing hands or showering excessively. You wash your hands or you shower excessively. Why do you wash your hands? Oh, germs. You touch the table, germs. You go wash your hands. You touch your pot, germs. You go out, you come in. Yeah, it's good to wash your hands when you just when you change the environment, when you move from possibly your office to your home. The first thing you do is to wash your hands, right? Okay, and after washing your hands, you wash your hands again. No, you don't need it. Why are you washing your hands? Because you have a thought that your hands have contracted germs and those germs is going to kill you. That if you use those hands to eat, your bare hands to eat, definitely you are introducing germs into your body and then you will die. That's the thought, that's the fear. Now, the thought of germs, now you are scared that you're going to contract a disease. Do you understand that? And then what do? You wash. That's compulsion. You are compelled to act. So your fear of not dying, of not contracting disease, is quashed, or is made to fizzle out. But in the real sense of it, that thought is still there even when you wash your hand. You are living with that thought. Yes. If you take a step back, you still notice that the thought is there. It never left you. You're just acting and then you're exhausted. Hmm? You're experiencing what's referred to as burnout. Okay, so the next is repeating actions like a safe number of times. Yeah, repeating actions like I watch football and then I also watch other sports. I follow other sports. You could see some sportsmen perform a ritual. Why do they perform this ritual? Almost all of them feel if they don't perform that ritual, definitely something bad is going to happen to them during the activity, or they are not going to win, or they are not, you know, going to feel all right. So it has become a ritual from an obsessive thought. The thought of if I don't do this, then this will happen has made them to act in a certain way. Now, another example is arranging objects until they feel just right. You've arranged it and then you go again and arrange it again. You go again and arrange it again. You go again and arrange. Come on. You don't need it. Just arrange it and then it's fine. You get that? Now, let's see. The problem is the compulsion only gives temporary relief. That's the problem. The compulsion, that action you are performing, thinking you are striking out the obsession, which is the thoughts, only gives temporary relief at that moment. Okay, you're fine and you like, oh, okay, let's get down and stuff like that. But soon the thought comes back. The obsession, which is the thought, comes back. So when I say thought, I mean obsession. And when I say obsession, I mean thoughts. Do you understand that? And when I say compulsion, I mean action. When I say action, I mean compulsion. Do you understand that? Okay. So the obsession comes back, the action, right? And the thing is, the obsession comes back in a stronger intensity. So the action needs to be a stronger, intensified action. Do you get that now? So you're going down. You're sinking, man. Yeah. I hate to tell you this, but yeah, you're sinking. You need help. You need professional help. Now, imagine your brain, alarm is on and all of that, and your brain is picking danger, 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 just because there is smoke. And the real sense of it, that smoke will go out or go off on its own. But your brain is already picking danger, danger, danger. And every time you want to possibly put out the smoke, by an action, that's how OCD is. The brain just picks signal and then interprets it as danger, 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 danger. And what happens? You are compelled by impulsivity. You are compelled to act in a certain manner. And in the real sense of it, the obsession, the thought, do not, 9 out of 10 times, do not go away. Instead, they come back in a stronger intensity. So, my people, I think that with this, we are now able to understand what OCD is, what scrupulosity is. You understand? Okay? And the likes. Okay, so I want to make you understand something again. Let's see, because I have a lot here to share with you. Okay, and I'd like to share something with you, and let's see. Now, while most people associate OCD with washing of hands or stove checking or the disorder, right? Now, OCD is actually a chameleon. OCD is actually a chameleon that attaches itself to almost any topic, that someone finds important. So, in clinical forms, right, we refer to OCD as having themes or subtypes. All right. So we have the taboo or the intrusive thought themes. You get that? Okay, this one's is we have the harm OCD, we have the sexual orientation OCD, we have the pedophilic OCD, and we have the one we just talked about, the scrupulosity OCD. Now, the harm OCD means an OCD that is centered around persistent fear of accidental or purposefully hurting yourself or others. So, what if I hurt this person? What if I hurt myself? That's referred to as harm OCD. And we have sexual orientation OCD. Now, we call it SOOCD. Now, there are individuals that don't even know their sexual orientation. Even when data, statistics, analysis, facts are there to ascertain they are either, gay or they are straight. So they are either bi or straight or anything, right? Anything else. They still find it confusing because of the thoughts. Okay, so they have this constant agonizing doubt about their sexual orientation. And we have pedophilic OCD, right? We call it POCD. Yes, POCD. Now, it's an intrusive, that's unwanted thoughts or images of involving children, which the sufferer finds absolutely repulsive. The sufferer finds it absolutely repulsive. It's the thoughts of oh, you understand what I mean? Pedophilic, yeah. Okay. And we have earlier explained scrupulosity. Now, the second theme of OCD is relationship and identity theme or subtype. Relationship or identity subtype. And what are they? Under that, we have relationship OCD. We refer to it as ROCD. Yes. Let me have some drink. Okay. Now, this ROCD, okay, this is not OCD, right? I'm just trying to calm myself down. Okay, so we're talking of the subtypes or the themes of OCD. First, we have just looked at the taboo or intrusive OCD. And under that, we saw the harm OCD, sexual OCD, pedophilic OCD, and scrupulosity OCD. The second subtype or theme of OCD is relationship and identity theme, right? Here we have relationship OCD, and here you have people have obsessive thoughts about a partner's suitability or one's own feeling. Like, do I really love? You are caught between. Do I really love them? Is their nose not too big? Is their cheek not too big? Is their lips not too big? Is their teeth not too big? Is their dentation actually well arranged and stuff like that? Oh, is his height not this? Do I and things like that? You are too obsessive about you are not just being obsessive here, you have obsessive doubts. It's good to have doubts, but when the doubts becomes obsessive, then it falls under relationship obsessive compulsive disorder. That's ROCD. Okay, so the second one on the list under the relationship and identity subtype of OCD is essential OCD, and this is ruminating on unanswerable questions about nature of reality, the universe, or the meaning of life until it causes significant paralysis. Now, this is you being obsessed. Oh, why is God God? Who created God? Who did this? Where are the angels? This and that. If this is this, that should be that. Are you getting that? Now, it gets you to the point of total chaos and confusion that you are not able to do anything. You drift out of reality. into obsession. They are just, have you met such people? So they are actually going to be needing professional help. Help of mental health experts, professionals, definitely, not just psychologists. Okay, so sometimes this sessions requires them to take certain medications with other forms of therapy. Do you understand that? Now, under the relationship and identity theme, lastly, we have false memory OCD. And what does this mean? The fear that you did something terrible in the past, like hit and run or an assault, and simply forgot. Is this not funny? Someone might say, oh, it's not possible, but there are people living with it. So if you're watching this video, you or you know someone who have experienced fear memory OCD, kindly comment in the comment section, or you tag the person. Would like to know your experience and how well you are coping or how you got out of it. This is a really, really serious topic and thing to know about yourself, and why you think the way you think, why your thought pattern has been on repeat, just like you play a song on repeat or you put a song on repeat. That thought pattern that is negative has been on repeat. So this is very eye-opening, and it is important that we all know what OCD is and understand the various forms or subtypes of OCD. Now, the third subtype is physical and sensory themes or subtype, right? And underneath, we have sensory motor. We call it somatic OCD. That's hyper awareness, yeah, of automatic bodily functions like breathing, blinking, swallowing, heartbeat. You are just conscious. Say, okay, how many times did I blink? I blinked 32 times. Oh, my heartbeat. I need to feel it. The pulse. I need to feel. And swallowing. If it that, this obsession is of if you don't follow it, yeah, something bad is going to happen. That is where it's OCD, not just curiosity. It is not the curiosity of, okay, I want to just monitor my pulse, how I swallow, blinking. No, it is, if I don't follow it, something bad is going to happen. Possibly it's going to stop, my pulse is going to stop. I won't be able to swallow again. I won't be able to blink and the likes. Have you experienced such thoughts? Okay, if you have been experiencing what is referred to as somatic OCD. The next one is just right. Just right OCD. And this isn't about germs, right? Earlier I mentioned people who clean. They clean like 5 times, 10 times, and the likes. They are referred to as just right OCDs. You get that? It's just an obsession that if they don't do it, something bad is going to happen. If they don't clean, they feel this incompleteness. They say, and we have substituted or given them a compound name, right? Not all of them, but a few persons fall under the category of people referred to as meticulous. So, it's meticulous. He doesn't like dirty places, and no, the person is actually experiencing the condition referred to as just right OCD. Okay, so that's that. Now, it is very, very important that if you're experiencing any of these subtypes of OCD, yourself or a loved one kindly see a mental health expert. They would help further evaluate and assess you and give you the best medical support. therapeutic support that you need. Now, in a broader term, now I want to bring it down to a family tree, right? In diagnostic manuals like the DSM-5, OCD belongs to a larger category called the obsessive, compulsive, and related disorders. Yes, and these are not types of OCDs like we have earlier mentioned. No, but they are close cousins. I want to mention them now. The close cousins of OCD. The first one is body dysmorphic disorder. Yeah, BDD. Body dysmorphic disorder. Body dysmorphic disorder, BDD. And it's an obsession with perceived flaws in physical appearance. So, oh, my nose is not long, my nose is flat, my nose, why is my jaw not, why is my chin or my jaw not like this or like in a particular way? Yeah, that's BDD. Next one is hoarding disorder. Yeah, is a persistent difficulty in discarding items. Okay, immediately I said this, I just remembered a few persons that I've seen. They find it difficult to discard things. They buy a perfume, they buy things, and they find it difficult to discard the containers. Do you understand that? Okay, so they find it difficult to discard items regardless of the value. And the next one after hoarding disorder is trichotillomania. 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 Okay, and it's a compulsive obsession for pulling hairs. Pulling hair. Have you seen people, they pull their hair or hair of people? They just pulling hair. Trichotillomania. And the next one is excoriation. Excoriation. And that is an obsession that makes people to become compulsive to, pick the skin. Skin picking. You pick skin. Pick skin. Have you seen people like that? These are cousins to OCD. They are not actually OCD. Do you get that? Okay, we have olfactory reference disorder. Olfactory reference disorder. Now, this is the false belief that one is emitting a foul smell. Even when everywhere is smelling nice, fresh, they're still going to perceive it. So, something bad is smelling here. Well, that's an olfactory reference disorder, right? ORD. Yes. So you might want to pay close attention. You might want to pay close attention to yourself, your loved ones, and those around you generally, and see if they exhibit any of this that we have mentioned. And leaving you with this, now you are armed with the right information. Do with it what pleases you. And our advice that you stay alert, watching, observing yourself, your partner, business partner, marriage partner, your friends. If they show any of the signs, support them by encouraging them to get diagnosis from a qualified mental health expert. I remain your therapist, Victor. I am your host, and this is Health and Wellness Podcast on Liberators Network. See you in our next episode. Thank you.